Have you ever gone through your stash and found something that you just couldn't believe you had purchased? Well, I found this panel. Actually, I found five of this panel. What in the heck was I thinking of when I bought five panels that are identical? And I got to looking at it, and since the goal is to use up the stash, now, anyway, I went to sleep. And do you ever solve problems in your sleep? Well, I decided I was going to do a kaleidoscope quilt because kaleidoscope blocks work really, really well when you have bold patterns, right? Well, this is pretty bold. It's bound to make some really cool looking blocks. So I saved one and I stacked up the other four panels. Well, let's go to the table and I'll show you what I did. All right, here we are at the cutting mat. And this is just the top bit of the panels. You can see that I've pinned them really, really closely. I actually started at the corners and put the pins so they were perpendicular and lined up as close as I could so that the pin went through the corner at exactly the same spot. And then I found a different marking on this pattern on the edge, and I went all the way around, and I ended up using a bazillion pins because I tried to pin it about every 4 inches or so, and I even used my clips. Now, I left the top because I don't think this is very interesting in terms of what would it make a kaleidoscope block look like. But I saved it and it's still pinned. When you cut out your kaleidoscope blocks, however you do it, once you get it lined up the way you want it, try not to move it too much because every time you move it, everything jiggles just a little bit. And you want those patterns to be as close to the same position as possible on every layer. I'm doing four, so obviously I'm making a square. I measured this across and it was 21. Wait a minute. How many inches was it? I don't remember. Well, let's look. So from the inside, it was just about 21 inches. And I wanted to create squares. So I ended up cutting blocks. One moment, please. Oh, there they are. I ended up cutting blocks that are 3.5 inches because that makes it a multiple of 7. And so I could go. So here are my blocks all stacked up together. Now I'm going to show you how to lay them out. All right. So when you lay out your kaleidoscope, every block has to rotate 90 degrees so that you get this really interesting design. And you can play with it. And a lot of the blocks I have played with on, do I want this in the center? Do I want that in the center? This is the clouds at the top of that panel. And it actually looks really cool. But you could also turn it like this, which is not terrible. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. But I wanted to show you some of these others. So here's part of the palm trees. And when you lay this out, how cool is that? I mean, that just makes a really interesting looking block. Let's do the fish. I have no idea what this is going to look like, but we're going to give it a shot. All right, there's part of one of those fish. Wait a minute. I'm going the wrong way here. Yeah, there we go. Now this one. Ah! Goes like this. And yeah. Isn't that fun? Yeah, I don't know about this one. The beauty of this block is if you don't like it the first time you lay it out, you don't have to leave it like that. Let's put this coral in the center. Oh, look at that. That's very cool. That's the way I'm going to sew that one. Last one. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these blocks and then bring you back in a day or so and show you what I've got. And we're going to play with some sashing and some layouts. That's okay. What if I did it like this? Oh, that's better. Don't you like that one better? I do. Anyway, I'm going to bring you back in a day or two after I've made my blocks, and we're going to play with some sashing ideas and lay the quilt out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Sherri. This is Quilts and Other Happy Accidents. Leave some comments and tell me what you think of my crazy idea. What could be better than a tropical vacation in the middle of a snowstorm? Nothing. I would love to be on a tropical island somewhere near the equator, but instead I'm here in beautiful, snowy Kansas City. Yep, it's 3 degrees outside. I've run the snowblower twice already today. Probably done. It looks like it's slowing down. But I have been working on my kaleidoscope quilt, and I thought I'd bring you along. Let's have a look. Here's the original panel that we started with. As you'll recall, I had 5, chopped up 4 of them. And some of the blocks turned out really bold and beautiful, so much so that I decided I needed to put some sashing in. And as luck would have it, I had a blue in my stash that picked up the blues from here and in here, and actually looks okay. I want to show you some of these blocks because it'll be interesting. Aren't they beautiful? Do you see what I mean about how busy these blocks are? And I guess that's kind of why you do a kaleidoscope quilt, because you have bold fabric to work with. But I really like the sashing. And I've laid the blocks out so that they kind of are near maybe where they could have originated. So as you can see, this bold water here, and I've put the blocks from that kind of in the same area. I've got my clouds sorted together, and down here I've got the fish. Look at these beautiful fish. Let me move the camera down a little lower so you can see the coral. Isn't that just spectacular? How the coral started to become its kind of own little arrangement. I think it's just beautiful. So I've got enough of it together that you can see I'm getting ready to connect these 2 sections, but then I have 3 more rows that I need to get the sashing on before I can connect it all. It's going to make a nice, generous lap size quilt. Darn, I'll have to keep it. Too small to donate. I actually really like vicious. Um, my husband would tell you it's because I'm a Pisces. I don't know if that's true. But anyway, I'll bring you back to show you the final product. Well, there it is. I've got all the sashing done. I've got it all squared up. Um, it's really nice. And on a cold winter day, just looking at all these vibrant colors and thinking about warm tropical places warmed me up just a little bit. And it's a very generous lap size quilt. I'm not really sure what the dimensions are. I have enough of the blue sashing, so I'll be able to bind it, but I elected not to put another border around it because I wasn't sure I would have enough for the binding. It's one thing to use up your stash, it's another to make things look just really cobbled, but I really like it. So if you go through your stash and you find a big bold print that you're really not sure what to do with, don't be afraid to chop it up and turn it into a kaleidoscope quilt. It can really bring new life to something that might be kind of hard to use up. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. Thanks for watching.